Samurai Jack is back. Back to get back to the past that he was still trying to get back to back in 2003. I'm Whitney Van Lanningham, and I'm here to get you in the groove for the return of Samurai Jack with a little recap of his coolest fights. Wacha! Fight number 5, Jack vs. Demongo the Soul Collector. Demongo the Soul Collector is sort of like Samurai Jack's equivalent of Marvel's Dormammu. Like Dormammu, he can teleport, bring things back from the dead, turn innocent souls into immortal warriors, and kick major ass. In episode 10 of season 2, Aku sends Demongo the ruthless soul collector to claim Jack's soul. But no matter what kind of crazy warrior essence he throws at Jack, he just can't seem to take him down. There's also this really great part where all the essences are chasing him and like a fat version of Donatello from Ninja Turtles is bringing up the rear, which is probably how I look trying to run the mile in 6th grade gym. Demongo is determined to capture Samurai Jack's essence so that he can become even more powerful. But Samurai Jack figures out how to free the essences from Demongo, rendering his powers useless. Aku is not too happy about this, so he kills Demongo. Although, to be fair, Demongo did last longer than most villains on the show, so he's got that going for himself. Fight number 4, Jack and King Brotok take on an Octomech. This is another episode based on something that happened in a comic. Jack and the Spartans alludes to Frank Miller's 300, which also tells its own version of the Battle of Thermopylae. Jack stumbles upon an epic battle between 300 Spartans and a bunch of robot minotaurs while mountain climbing, which is a totally normal thing to discover while clinging to the side of a cliff. When Jack notices that the prince is outnumbered and about to be killed, he jumps into action, defeating all of the robots. When the king learns that Jack is here to help, he explains that a giant mechanical octopus has been feeding off the land and getting more and more powerful. This is kind of an allusion to King Leonidas of Sparta and the Persian king Xerxes, but, you know, for kids. And stoners. Jack and King Brotok team up Batman and Robin style to defeat the robotic monster, and Jack saves the king's life by throwing him his magic sword. The king stabs the monster in the head and destroys all of his minions. It seems like Jack died to save the king, but on his deathbed, the king remembers seeing Jack fade away into the mist. It's pretty much one of the greatest 22-minute bromances I've ever seen. Fight number 3, Jack versus the demonic house. This season 3 episode of Samurai Jack has super dope artwork, creepy spooky ghost noises, and an eerie lack of background music in most scenes. The animation in the majority of this episode looks more detailed than usual, almost like it's been hand-painted, and the minimalistic flashback scenes are hauntingly beautiful. And if that wasn't enough to make you sleep with a nightlight on, you little bitch, the demon itself is extra creepy. He's like one of those pedophiles that gets other kids to lure victims into his sketchy basement, only this demon isn't trying to get handsy with a kindergartner, he's trying to steal souls. When a little girl appears to Jack on one of his travels, he tracks her down and tries to help her. They get trapped inside this haunted mansion-y demon house that has no windows and no doors. But when he wakes up, he finds the little girl in another room having breakfast with her family. One by one, all of her family members get possessed and start soul barfing their brains out. The demon transports Jack to an alternate reality, kind of like the Upside Down from Stranger Things. Jack somehow manages to force summon his sword like a Jedi and defeats the monster, but he's unable to save the girl's family. He bursts back to reality and leaves them to probably eventually have weird slug things crawl out of their mouths. For a last dose of spoopy scary, it turns out that the demon has nothing to do with Aku. He's just, like, there, for no reason, just to be evil. Ugh. Fight number 2, Jack versus human Aku. When this episode first started, I was like sick. Aku and I both love ordering pizza, and we both want ultimate power and glory. Can you say boyfriend material? But then it turns out that Aku was just calling his bounty hunter to get to Jack. Ugh, why are all single men such wimps? Jack easily destroys his cave troll Boba Fett, which prompts Aku to dispatch a bunch of robots to try to kill him. After Jack explodes every last robot, Aku decides that maybe it's time to battle Jack himself in a fair fight. Finally, Aku, I knew you had potential. Wait, that's your human form? JK, I'm really just focusing on myself right now.
What?
According to the terms of the fight, Jack can't use weapons or outside help, and Aku can't use his powers or call upon any minions. By the way, fuck minions. I can't say that word anymore without picturing, minions. Please make it stop. Aku ends up cheating because, duh, he's evil, so Jack makes a break for his sword. When one of Aku's minions tries to break it, Jack reveals that he actually hid fake swords all over the Valley of Corpses beforehand. When Aku tries to find the real one, Jack reveals that he hid it beneath the sand and slices him in a dust explosion. When the dust clears, Aku flies away, and Jack vows to destroy Aku no matter what it takes. Fight number 1, Light vs. Dark, Samurai vs. Ninja. This fight isn't just a battle, it's a goddamn work of art. Throughout this episode, a robotic ninja assassin has been stalking Jack while he saves a village from Terminator lobsters. The village is really stoked until they realize that the ninja kidnapped a kid. To rescue the kid, Jack falls into the Shinobi's trap, and the rest is animation history. Jack and the Warrior of Darkness battle it out in a monochromatic display of light versus dark. To match the ninja's stealth, Jack pulls up his white robes to obscure himself amidst the light. It's a slow burn fight scene that really gets you squirming in your seat as you wait for each expert strike filled with precision and intent. Jack ultimately kills the ninja in the final waning light of day, which is poetic in the violent sword-throwing kind of way. Those are the best fights of Samurai Jack's first run, but will the final season top these battles? Will Jack ever beat Aku? What role will the Scotsman play in the finale? We want to know what you think, so let us know in the comments. Whatcha?